Are you thinking about skiing or snowboarding in Bulgaria? Borovets is one of the best budget-friendly ski resorts in Europe, but is it actually worth it? Here's everything you need to know before you go so you don't waste your time or money. First off, where is Borovets and how to get there? Borovets is actually Bulgaria's oldest ski resort, tucked away in the stunning Rila Mountains. This place has been drawing in skiers and snowboarders for decades. Getting there is pretty straightforward. The closest airport is in Sofia, Bulgaria's capital. And from there, it's just a 1.5 hour drive to the resort. Now, you have a few options, shuttle, rental car, and if you're feeling particularly adventurous, public bus. I took a shuttle with a company called Traventuria, and it was pretty excellent. They picked us up in the center of Sofia, and the drive was pretty nice. They can also pick you up at the airport if you need, and this service costs around 15 euros. But heads up, if you are coming in peak season, make sure to pre-book your transport. Now let's talk about the best time to visit. Peak season goes from January to March. That's when you'll find the best snow conditions, but also the biggest crowds. So if you're after fewer people or cheaper deals, try earlier or later in the season. So I guess that means around December or April. Just keep in mind that the snow can be pretty unpredictable there. I was there for a week in late January, and as an intermediate snowboarder, I thought the snow conditions were fine. Some runs got rather icy, but they closed them off, and there were plenty of others to choose from. I did think at times it was a little too crowded, but it didn't take away too much from my experience, and especially during lunchtime there were much less people, so that was the perfect time to get up there. So what can you expect from the skiing and snowboarding? First, let's break down the slopes. If you're a beginner, there are lots of easy runs and some pretty excellent ski schools for you to get started. Intermediate skiers can enjoy a great mix of blue and red runs, which was definitely enough to keep me excited. Because there are fewer black runs, I would imagine that for the more advanced riders, maybe Borovets is nothing incredible, but I have heard that there are several backcountry options. When it comes to lift pass prices, they are pretty competitive compared to other resorts in Europe. I paid 130 euros for 3 days. And if you need to gear up, there are certainly several rental shops to choose from. I paid 76 euros for 3 days, and that rental included a helmet, goggles, a snowboard of course, and snow pants. I do recommend making reservations online for both the lift pass and the equipment, and you can do everything on this link down here. Another thing to note is that skiing is definitely the more popular option in Borovets. I learned how to snowboard in New Zealand, and there I was certainly the majority with lots of snowboarders, and that is definitely not the case in Borovets. So I guess at times I can say I felt a little out of place. There's certainly an unspoken rivalry between the two. If you know, you know. Now let's talk about where to stay in Borovets, and there are plenty of accommodation options for various preferences and budgets. A 4-star hotel like Rila, which is right there on the slopes, has a mountain view and plenty of other luxuries, can cost anywhere between $350 to $450 for a double room, and that does include breakfast and dinner. I stayed at a hotel a little further out. It's called Hotel Bor, and I found it to be the perfect mid-range option. Exceptional value and really convenient as well. It's just 600 meters from the lifts, and they have shuttle transfers at fixed times during the day. My stay there was pretty fantastic, and it was the perfect place to rest after a day on the slopes. I paid 280 euros for 4 nights, and that includes breakfast and dinner. So obviously you can save tons of cash on food if you stay at Hotel Bor, and I would definitely go back there. So whether you're after luxury, mid-range comfort, or even budget-friendly stays, Borovets has you covered with lots of accommodation options. Now let's talk about the après ski scene in Borovets, and I have to be honest, I went to Borovets expecting to party my butt off, and that definitely did not happen. I was completely disappointed with the nightlife scene, and when you compare it to other ski resorts around the world, it just doesn't measure up. Most of the crowd consisted of families, couples, and big groups of young British blokes. It felt surprisingly difficult to meet new people, especially solo travelers, and maybe you can say it was the timing. I was there in late January, but I have a strange feeling that it's just not the best nightlife place. Despite the sheer number of bars and clubs in Borovets, there are a lot of them, but only one called BJ's ever had anything happening. So sometimes I would go there to have a pint during a snowboard session or after a snowboarding session, but when I would go back there at night, it was so packed and it felt like the whole entire resort was crammed into one bar. One evening, I even said, okay, I'm gonna go around and walk into every bar that I see, and I did exactly that, and all of them were pretty much dead. So all in all, I had to let go of my pretty big party expectations, and that was a real bummer. That said, the daytime drinking spots on the mountain almost made up for that. My favorite was this place at the very top with absolutely insane views. This is the kind of spot where you could just kick back with a drink and take in the scenery. And of course, night skiing is always an option if you're looking to meet people on the slopes. I didn't do it myself, but it looked pretty fun. Now let's talk about where to eat in Borovets, and there's definitely something for every budget. You'll find cozy, affordable taverns serving some traditional Bulgarian dishes, and you'll also find high-end spots with like gourmet takes of local and international food. Unfortunately, on this subject, I can't speak with too much authority because I took full advantage of the free breakfast and dinner at Hotel Bor, and I did not have one single meal on the street to make my money last. That said, if you want to try a local dish while you're there, go for the kapama, which is like a slow-cooked dish consisting of meat and rice. And if you're up for a drink, of course, a shot of rakia, which is Bulgaria's pride and joy, is almost like a rite of passage. That is their strong fruit brandy.
This one is grape. Grape rakia.
Oh, wow. Very good. Yeah. It's very like...
Bulgarian
it's very like perfumey, kind of. Yeah.
and then water. You drink some water after.
Water, of course, yeah. Gonna need it. So is Borovets actually cheap? Well, if you consider the lift pass prices comparing with France or Italy, I guess you could argue that they aren't that different. But it's safe to say that when you factor in all the other costs involved in a ski trip, you will be spending much more elsewhere. You can definitely expect to spend much less on accommodation, food, and drinks than in other Western European resorts. That's because mid-range hotels in Bulgaria offer great value, and the local Bulgarian restaurants definitely won't be breaking the bank. Plus, you can go to the supermarket, stock up on some snacks that'll keep you going in between the meals. I myself always had some cheese and red wine in my hotel room, ready to go. So should you go to Borovets? Borovets offers a lot of value for skiers on a budget, with its affordable prices and decent terrains for beginners and intermediates. It's a great choice if you're starting out or just looking to hone your skills, which was definitely my case. My total price for the whole trip, including accommodation, food, ski pass, and rentals, came out to just under 500 euros, and that's pretty freaking good. On the other hand, the resort can get quite crowded, there are fewer advanced runs, and the snow can be pretty unpredictable in the early or late season. And as I said, I would also place the Après and Nightlife scene as a downside because, in my experience at least, it definitely did not deliver. That said, I would definitely return because I thought the cost benefit was pretty excellent. So if you're looking for a fun, affordable, and beginner-friendly resort, it's pretty hard to beat. Now let's hit the slopes together. If you just click on this video that's on your screen, I will take you through my experience in Borovets for you to see exactly what it was like. So I will see you up there on the mountains in Bulgaria in 3, 2, 1.